Hi, Russell. Welcome to Arkansas Wushu. Let's go ahead and open up class. All right, we're going to start off warming up a little bit. We're just going to do heel raises. Do about 20 of those. All right, we're going to do rotations with our head. So we're going to go from side to side. Of course, sports science has said that going back causes injuries to the neck, so we don't do that anymore. Just go from one side to the other 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, let's do 20 rotations forward. And 20 rotations back. All right, larger circles, 20 forwards. And back. I want to loosen up their hip muscles and get those nice and loose. So today we're going to make a large circle up and fall down to the side 20 times. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, let's go ahead and just do 10 knees up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so let's go ahead and do some stretch kicks. Bring your left foot back, right foot forward. We're going to keep the toes back. Lift the leg as high as we can. Excuse me. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so we're going to learn our yellow belt basics today from the Chuan Fa or Kenpo system. This is yellow belt as I learned it. I was taught the Academy of Self-Defense and Karate under Rule of Trail. If you guys want to know, you can find me on kenponet.com kenponet.com. Click on the flame, click on the archive, click on family tree. There you can find the family tree of most people who have or of my lineage at least. There are other family trees out there that I found. This was the one that was presented to me whenever I was learning. All right. So let's start with the legs twice the length of shoulder, and then just bend our knees a little bit and bring our hands back to the hip, kind of like we're sitting down on a horse. This is our horse stance. It's the first stance we're going to learn. Now we have horse stance, and we have a couple of different modifications of it. So let's go over the different ways that we can do horse stance. All right. So first thing I like to pay attention to is the feet. I notice a lot of people when they do this, they have their legs pointed out at a 45-degree angle. It's not necessarily wrong, but it's a little different than the way I do it and the way it's done in a lot of Southern Kung Fu styles. In those cases, you'll notice that heels are kicked out and the toes pointed somewhat inward as you lay down. So kind of like if you were able to squeeze with your knees, but you don't want to bow your knees in, of course. You just want to kick those heels out. So if you do it in a shallow stance, it helps to think of it like from a Wing Chun perspective, how they start their forms. Heels out, toes out, heels out. It's a high horse, right? We're doing the same thing. We're just bending our knees a little bit more. Okay, so if you've got a high horse, of course, we're going to have a low horse. A low horse, we just go down as deep as we can. Ideally, you want your legs to be parallel to the floor. So we're going to go as deep down as we can and just hold that for a few seconds. You'll notice how exhausting it becomes really quickly. Try to keep that back straight. Don't bend over and put your hands on your knees. A lot of people do this. As soon as you do this, your posture is off. You want that posture straight up and down, like your head suspended from a string, and then sink down into the stance. But never let yourself bend over and grab your knees. All right. So as you notice, I did this sideways. So you might hear a side horse or a side fighting horse. Side horse is just horse stance where the person you're talking to or your opponent is beside you. So you're still in that same stance, but your attention is focused sideways. And that's a side horse. If you're a side fighting horse, it just means the hands are up, ready to fight. All right. Same thing on the other side. So we separate this by saying side horse stance right facing or side horse stance left facing. So if you hear side horse right facing, the horse stance sideways, right side facing your instructor or your opponent, whatever the situation may be. All right, so then we move on to modified side fighting horse. Modified, we're just going to step out comfortably. We're still kind of in a horse stance, but we're kind of at a 45-degree angle now. This way we can just fight a little bit. It keeps us mostly sideways. It's one of the ways I like to fight. Very similar to the bladed stance. The bladed stance is up a little bit higher, of course, not quite as down low as the modified side fighting horse is. All right, and so from here, if we turn and straighten that leg, we go into a soft or a bow stance. This is a hard bow. All right, so from horse stance, you just turn that leg, and again, ideally, this leg you want parallel to the floor. That's what's going to help you most with your leg strength and your flexibility. So let's hold that. Come back to your horse stance and back to your bow stance. Okay, so that's a hard bow. So on the opposite of the hard bow, we've got a soft bow. So in the hard bow, or it's also called a bow and arrow stance sometimes, this back leg is straight, rigid, ready to lunge. In the soft bow, or it's actually finished the lunge, sorry. The soft bow is more relaxed. It's up a little bit. Both legs are bent. The weight's about 50-50. That way you can jump in, jump out, even closer to the bladed stance. Very similar to the ready stance from Jeet Kune Do. So that's our stance right there, right? The best way I like to practice that one is to not let your heels touch the ground. You have to hop forward on your balls, or on the balls of your feet, and hop back on the balls of your feet. Okay, so that gives us our horse stance, our hard bow stance, and our soft bow stance. Let's look at the cat stance and the back stance. We'll start off with the cat stance. Cat stance, I do mine always with the feet in an L shape, because if we turn it forward, it becomes a crane stance. All the cat stance means is that most of your weight is on your back leg, more than 70%. You can do a 80-20, 10-90. You hear a lot of different numbers, but the idea is you could touch your toe and bring it up and it not matter. This way, while you're in a cat stance, you can kick really easily and really quickly off of that front leg. You have to adjust to kick off the back leg. That front leg's pretty free, and if it does get kicked like with a leg kick or something, it can just turn out like the returning wave kick from traditional karate. Versus if more of your weight was on it, it would be solid and it would take the full impact of the kick. All right, so a back stance, just like we've got that L from the cat stance, we've got an L with a back stance, but it's out a little bit wider, steps out more. You're going to put some weight on that front leg and bend that back leg. I like to try to make this front leg a 45 angle down and put most of my weight over the back, center it. You'll see this often during knife hand blocks, during helping blocks, techniques of that nature. And so that's our back stance. All right, so let's do a real quick review of those stances. So we've got a horse stance, we've got a bow stance, we've got a back stance, and we've got a cat stance. And that's most of what we're going to be needing for this class. We won't have to use too much more. All right, so let's start off learning our punches, or at least a few punches. Starting off, we're going to go into a horse stance and bring your right hand out. I suggest getting a mirror or a monitor or something to where you can see yourself and put your fist to where it is in front of your nose in the mirror. You want to aim for your nose every time. If that's a little uncomfortable, you can come down and aim for the solar plexus. But one or the other, either the nose or the solar plexus. Okay, so the first thing we learn is a single punch. So do the single punch as one hand's coming back, the other hand's coming out. You want these hands to move in conjunction. The faster this hand pulls back, the faster the back hand is going to shoot out into a punch. And of course, vice versa. So to start off, we start with a single punch. I'm going to go ahead and do mine solar plexus level. I'm going to punch, and that's 2. Ready? 1, 2. It helps to exhale on the technique to make sure you focus your power into that movement. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, next we're going to move on to the double punch. It's pretty much the exact same thing, but we're going to throw 2 punches. They're going to be done quick, so I'm going to do both punches in a single breath. So again, horse stance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Triple punch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Obviously, drill punches, 3 punches. I forgot to explain that first, but simple enough, right? All right, so our next technique, we want to do a back fist. I'm going to keep this simple today. So do our back fist, we want to point our elbow or what we're going to strike. Keep the other hand up to guard the face. Hit out sideways and come back. So if I were to use a speed bag as my example here, I would point my elbow. And if you want, you can almost do this defense here. It's a common one to guard most of the body. Makes it really hard to get in, given that lower part is open, but you can cover it pretty easy with your knee if you need to. Keep this one up to guard your face. Point your elbow, and then when your hand comes out, it'll hit, and that's hitting with the back knuckles. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I feel like I normally use a little more power, but arms are really sore from the endurance workouts. If you guys have been doing those, let me know in the comments. I'd love to see if they've been working for you or where you guys are at and how I need to adjust those to help my audience. All right, let's throw the punch on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So let's go ahead and get into an actual fighting stance. Not real picky on this. However you think you would fight if you were fighting somebody, how would you stand? Do what feels comfortable and natural to you. We'll be working the stance. You'll be working on the stances more. Hopefully, if you have your own instructor, they'll help you with that with focus mat drills and sparring and things like that. We'll be going over it in forums, but for just working a couple of punches, I'm not going to be real picky about it. So our first punch is going to be a jab. I'm going to jab to the nose. It's also called a forward punch. So if you hear a forward punch, what that means is whichever leg is in front is the hand that's going to punch. It's a forward punch. You can also define it as a jab. All right. So 1, 2, 3. I like to make sure to twist that and push off the ball of the foot as I throw that punch. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so we're going to go ahead and throw the reverse punch. Reverse punch, also known as a 2 or a cross in boxing. If you hear 1-2 combinations, usually what they mean is forward punch, reverse punch. I'll throw a reverse punch to the nose. Again, this is where I like to use my hard bow, twisting from a back stance into a hard bow, and I'll actually push a little further up off of that heel into that punch, throwing everything into that strike. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and do a vertical punch. So off the backhand, I'm going to throw that punch straight up and down. Let's go ahead and throw this one to the solar plexus. Again, we start with that back foot sideways, twist it, straighten the leg out, and push into that vertical punch. Keep this other hand up to guard any incoming strikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. Before we move on to the other side, I want to do the twisting reverse vertical punch. It's almost the same punch, but this punch actually turns all the way upside down, and the knuckle pushes out a little bit more. It's a great punch for when they have their guard up, and you need to go just right in between and underneath the guard. Throws you just a little off center. Okay, so again, twist off the back leg, twist the fist all the way around and hit. Don't get too far off. You want to keep your center of balance. You don't want to get off balance with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Other side. Just want to do vertical punches to the solar plexus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Twist and reverse vertical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, let's move on to our next punch. We're going to go ahead and go into some of the Kung Fu punches. If you know a little bit about Chuan Fa or Kenpo, you know that at some point Ed Parker mixed a little Kung Fu in there with it, and I believe it was James Wing Wu who added some of this stuff in. But in modern day, James Ebro did a 5 forms to black belt, which consists of Gong Gong Quin, Seeping Quin, Bookset, Gunji, and Tiger and Crane. Although it seems to be his own version of Gunji and Tiger and Crane. The names come from Hungar, a lot of the techniques come from the Hungar, but the forms do not match the Hungar forms. But the techniques are there. So to get ready for those, in the style of Chuan Fa that I learned, which some of you will know is Chinese Kenpo, we have to learn a couple of additional punches. The first one of those is the roundhouse punch. That's where we step up, we come around, and it comes back and hits the chest. Almost looks like a haymaker, right? Wild swinging punch, but it's not. The difference being the sharp turn at the end. This one has a specific purpose. It's for like if someone's got their guard too far out, we can come around the guard and that sharp hook catches the jaw or the chin, right? So I'm fighting this guy. I come up, his guard's a little too far out, so I come right around his guard and hook. Hopefully that little button that knocks you out. I may or may not get it. But because of that sharp turn, the elbow joint will wind up catching their hand and trapping them so that you'll have them held in place if you want to throw another strike or grapple or whatever you want to do from there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's do the reverse punch. Okay, reverse roundhouse. So this one's coming up, and then it can be used in 2 ways. Obviously, this wild swinging technique probably isn't going to hit them because it's pretty telegraphed. They're going to see that coming. They're going to put their hands up. They're going to do something. So the idea is their hands are already up. And we're trying to crash into them and move them out of the way. Now, if they're solid, It won't move them, but it'll put you on top of their forearm and give you an opening for a follow-up strike. And that's the whole idea of the reverse roundhouse punch, is you're not so much trying to hit as you're trying to prep for a follow-up or something that they're not expecting so that you can get in. You can call it moving the block out of the way, or you can call it crashing, however you want choose to use it. But we're going to step up from the hip in this modified horse stance and twist out into a bow stance while throwing the punch. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Other side, same technique. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. So next I'm going to step up and do an over-the-head roundhouse punch. An over-the-head roundhouse kind of starts like the reverse roundhouse, except for it's coming over, right? And the Wing Chun dummy is the perfect example of this because it's what if their guard is too wide? Well, I'm coming right in between that guard, hopefully down the bridge of the nose. And again, I'm always following it up with something. These techniques are from Hung Gar. Hung Gar loves to use forearms and then follow the forearms with another strike. They rarely throw something without a follow-up technique. Okay. 1, 2. Normally for this one, it's a flat punch, right? 3. Could be an eagle's claw, tiger claw, anything. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, other side. And if you're wondering about similarities between Kung Fu and Karate, since I teach both, think of how similar this movement is to what we did Tuesday with Heian Shodan, right? What we did a punch down, come around with a hammer fist. Well, we're just doing the same thing with a back fist, right? Coming from the hip, coming over with a back fist instead of a hammer fist. But it's pretty much the same movement, but it's Hung Gar versus traditional karate. Just that much difference. And it becomes this instead of this. All right, let's do 10 of those. 1. I like to always keep that hand up just in case. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so next let's do the side horse power punch. It's a lot like it sounds. You're going to grab, like you're grabbing a handful of hair or whatever, or grabbing an arm maybe. You're going to step in, turn sideways, and throw a punch. This hand comes back, this hand pushes out. I like to think of it a lot like drawing a bow and arrow. Just hits right there. And that pretty much literally is what it is. Someone grabs your shoulder or something, so you grab and step in sideways to the strike to pull them into your hit and get a lot of power, or a side horsepower punch. Okay, 1. If you want to make it look good in forms, drop lower in your horse stance, then it'll look a little better. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so that's the side horse power punch. Our last punch is the sideways vertical. Pretty close to the same punch. You step up, let your body turn sideways. You're staying at waist level and throwing a vertical punch. Same idea, you block a punch or something, so you want to turn, and you're turning sideways for a reach advantage, right? Because if I'm forwards, I can't quite reach the dummy. But when I turn sideways, I get that little bit of extra reach that I need. So if I'm boxing this guy and I can't touch him, I commit to that sideways turn. The bad thing is it kind of exposes my back a little bit. I might take a roundhouse kick to the kidney or something, but before, he was able to strike me and I wasn't able to strike him, so at least I gained something too. All right. So I'm going to step up and do right side first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just for practice, I like to put the other hand out and use it as a draw hand if I'm not keeping it up in my guard. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so that takes us through our different punches within the yellow belt. Let's move on into some kicks. Let's put our left leg back, right leg forward. I'm going to stand in a soft bow stance, fairly comfortable, fairly high. If you want more of a leg exercise and more of a stretch, bring that down into a deeper stance. If it is too hard, come up even higher. So the first kick we're going to learn is a snap kick. Real simple kick, has 4 parts. Knee lifts up, foot extends, comes back, sets down. Can hit one of 3 ways. Either A, it's going to hit with the toes down, so it's coming between the legs for a growing shot, or perhaps you pulled the head down so that they're facing downwards, and now you can hit that way. The other way is hitting with the ball of the foot. In the case it's like solar plexus or somewhere up in that area, you can hit with the ball of your foot. And the last way is the most powerful, but the most difficult, is to pull back and hit with the heel. And a lot of people are under the impression that you only kick with the heel whenever you kick high, right? Because as you come up, that toe comes back and it becomes easier to hit with the heel. But you can practice that heel kick all the way down to the knee. And it's good because it's going to stretch your hamstrings and get you used to using some muscles that you don't normally use. All right, so I'm going to keep these about mid-level and hit with the ball of the foot. I want to do 10 of those on each side. Let's keep our hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, that's a front snap kick. Before we go on to side kicks or rear kicks or round kicks, let's cover another front kick. So we not only have the front snap kick, but we have a front thrust kick. And so the difference is with the front snap, you're just lifting your leg, hitting, and coming back down, right? With a front thrust, bringing that knee up a little bit higher. This back foot is going to twist. You're going to kind of push through. And then you can either set down forward or bring it back. Whenever you're first learning this kick, it helps to bring the knee up and pull down as you thrust the kick outwards. A lot of people will say, keep your hands up the whole time. You got to have your hands up. You got to have your hands up. And, generally, I like the hands up too. It's great. But whenever you're working on basics and you're trying to get these techniques and the hip motion down, sometimes you've got to make slight adjustments for a better technique. And then you can bring those hands back up later. Okay. So we're going to do that 10 times. Lift the knee up, pull down as we push out with the thrust kick. And we'll go ahead and step into those. 1, 2, 3. And as you notice, even though my hands are down, they have to get so close to me that my legs longer than their hands are probably not going to hit me unless I manage to sidestep and come around. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, next let's get into the side kick. I'm not going to go straight to the side kick. I'm going to do a small exercise before we do that one. So find a wall, go ahead and put your hand on it. What I want you to do is lift this leg straight up to the side to not quite waist height, but somewhere comfortable. What you're going to find is your leg either wants to go forward or backwards. So you want to look at this back leg. As you lift it, that back leg should stay behind it. If you start seeing that back leg, you know that you're off center. And that's what we're doing this exercise to fix before we even learn that kick, so that you'll know that and not have to fix that error later. All right, so 1, and back down. 2, and back down. 3, 4, 5. You want to go, as soon as you feel yourself start leaning back, that's as high as you want to go. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, let's go ahead and do the same exercise on the other side. 1, just to be able to get different angles, I want to use my cane. 2, that way I can see if anyone comments a little easier. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so I want to move on to the next drill. So for our next drill, we're going to bring our foot up and just slide up the knee, right? Lifting this leg straight up. Just like that. Go back to the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Other side. Same kick. Or same practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. So now we're going to do the whole kick, the side kick. So we're going to come up, bring the leg up into the inside of the leg, snap out straight to the side, back to the knee, and down. So from the side. Now to cheat a little bit, try to lift the big toe and push the heel out. And that'll help you hit with the edge of the foot, because that's what you want to do, is hit with that blade. If you can't hit with a blade, try to hit with the heel. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, same kick, other leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did it before I counted that time. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so next we're going to learn the rear kick. This is one of the kicks I'm a little bit worse at. So I want to take our time. I want to give myself a little bit of a target. So I'm going to kick low right here, right on the knee. If you don't have something to kick, do it in the air. Go outside, use a tree, whatever you can find, it doesn't matter. So a couple of tips on this technique. We're going to be kicking behind us. The most common mistake is that when people get to throw the kick, they turn sideways and throw more of a side kick than a rear kick. If you need more help with these kicks, I did a whole 30-day series on improving these kicks in December. You can find that in the playlist on my channel. Another martial arts friend of mine, Roger Grimes, done the same thing on his channel, did the challenge with me. Both of us kind of traded exercises and gave different exercises for a whole month just to improve our own kicks and to help people who are learning from us improve their kicks. So one of the main things that seems to cause this problem is the head turn. Whenever you turn your head at a certain point, your hips tend to want to follow, right? So it helps to only glance and use your peripheral vision, not try to directly look at it, because whenever you try to turn and completely look at your target, your hips are going to turn too, and you're going to wind up throwing that kick sideways instead of backwards. So what we want to do is bring that leg up in front of us like a front kick. All right, so we don't want to bring it around to the side because that would be a side kick. We want it to go straight back. So what I'm doing here, stepping off a little to the side. I don't want to do direct behind me. That way it's easier to see. It doesn't mess it up too much. Going to lift the knee, see where our target is, and kick backwards. Okay, let's do that 10 times. 1. Not worried about power, just technique. So take your time, do it slow. 2. Given I could do it high and faster, I'm not going to because we want to work on technique. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Other leg. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. All right, so that's 10 rear kicks. So that's front, side, rear, and thrust kick. We'll go over a wheel kick or a roundhouse kick. My manual was wheel kick low, wheel kick high. They didn't use the round kick because in the school that I taught, they taught the roundhouse kick was always parallel and level to the ground. Had to be flat. So if it came at any sort of angle, they called that a wheel kick. If you take a different style, they may call all of those roundhouse kick, and that's fine. Use whatever name that your style or your instructor uses. I'm not going to be too particular about names. I am going to use the dummy just because I like the way it feels. So I'm going to pull that out real quick. I say real quick, I got my mats in the way. So I'm going to throw this one slowly. So the trick here is whenever you come into this chamber, instead of being straight up, like the front snap kicks were, we're going to want to turn that sideways. Kind of like you're putting your leg up on a table. So if you have a table or something to put your foot on, great, that's what you want. Now from there, if you've ever looked at weights, think of leg extensions, right? You just extend the leg and come back. Well, that's what you're doing here, except for that your leg is sideways. Extend the leg, come back. All right. So I want to throw 10 of those. I'm going to throw mine on the dummy. You can throw yours in the air, however you want to do it. Let's go ahead and do right side first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so that's another kick where that pulling hand can help you. So whenever you kick, sometimes to get that waist through, it helps to pull down that hand. Again, generally I don't like to pull down, but in this case, what it does is it gives you that extra hip torque to get on through. So there's an argument there. One is you should keep the hands up. One argument is you should pull that hand down because they're going to be too far away to hit you anyways, and it helps you drive more power in. And there is another argument that's kind of in between that says you should post that hand on the opponent and then throw the kick. By being posted, we know where we're at, we get that downward motion, and we hit. The only thing I don't like about the posted hand is if you're fighting someone who's a better grappler than you, you've now given them that hand. If that's not the situation you're in, I would probably recommend the posted version. The only time I don't like the posted version is if I'm going against a strong ground fighter and I come in and I give him my hand. Now he's got a hold of me. Not good. I'd rather be out of his reach and get back out of the way. So you got to consider what you're doing when you throw these techniques. Wing Chun Num's a little heavy. All right. So we've done the roundhouse kick now. You can do that at different levels as well. Practice it low, practice it middle, practice it up high. One of my favorite practices is to put your hand on the wall, do it low, lift your leg high, throw it around and kick high, bring it back low, do a figure eight, and then repeat. Gives you good control over that leg. All right. So let's go ahead and stretch out a little bit. Legs twice length your shoulders. Grab your elbows. Hang down. Over to your left side. Hope you guys are enjoying these classes. I'm trying to focus more on one subject each class rather than so much freeform. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So if there is a particular form you need help with, a particular technique you need help with, feel free to either comment on one of these videos or send me a message at arkansaswushu@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to go over whatever subject you want for an entire class to help you out with that. Let's go back to the middle. Bring those legs further apart. And then back over to your left. I'm thinking next week I'm probably going to do a little bit of Shaolin Kung Fu. I think I'll go over Lian Hunshin. I haven't done that form in a little bit, and I kind of want to work it. So I think it's a good one to learn. Let's switch sides. So that's probably what we'll do in the next class, unless I get a request to do something else. All right, let's go back to the middle, and let's go ahead and let that just fall down as far as you can tolerate. And fall back and relax. Let's bring that in. Bring your knees down. Try to straighten the back. All right, I'm going to scoot forward a little bit. Bring this leg in. Put this hand on the ground, post it. Grab this foot and pull it up into a stretch. All right, let's switch sides. Same thing. Pull this leg in. Grab this left foot and pull it up into a stretch. If you need extra help to get up, you can fall down onto that forearm instead to bring that up a little higher. All right, let's bring that down. Let's go ahead and do a front split stretch, left side forward. So I like to start on one knee, put this heel up, let that slide forward, start pushing the back leg back, and sit in that stretch for a second. All right, let's switch sides. Do the other side. I'll do this sideways so you can see it a little bit better. I like to start on one knee, put that heel up, let that foot slide forward. Once it gets so far, push that other leg back. And that gives us a decent front split stretch. Good ending stretch. Nice static stretch to increase your flexibility. All right, let's end off with a horse stance hold just to get that in. So let's go deep horse. I like to do the iron bridge. See, we got a couple of people here today. Thank you guys for joining us. Nice to have you. As I was saying, if there's something you want to work on in a class, feel free to let me know. I do Shaolin, Kenpo, both northern and southern styles of wushu, a little bit of Wing Chun, and a bunch of different things. I'm glad to cover just about any topic and work with anybody on whatever they want to learn. I just really enjoy Kung Fu. So, all right, let's go ahead and come up, and we're going to go ahead and end class there. Again, I teach this class every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 o'clock. That'll be Central Time. I'm also doing an endurance class on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I'll have a workout roughly about 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow night. So be looking out for that. And if there are any topics you would like me to make a separate video on and cover, feel free to hit me up. Let's go ahead and close out. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.